Good morning. I guess I'm supposed to, how y'all doing? So I got up early this morning being an East Coaster, and I called my wife and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm prepping for my speech or my presentation." And she said, "Well, what exactly are you going to talk about?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to talk about growth opportunities and getting more out of our partners." And she said, "You know, baby, I love you, but you're really a weirdo." And I said, "Well, what the hell does that mean?" She said, "You brag all the time about how great the Intelisys group is and how fast the partner community is growing." And I said, "Well, you need to understand something. Mike Bauer is going to talk about the investments we've made in Intelisys and then the $100 million we've invested afterwards. And I've got to help these guys sell more, because otherwise it's going to be me. Because I'm a sales guy, but for the past 4 years I've spent pretty much my entire past 4 years studying markets. And so what I want to talk to you about today is how you guys are leading the way. So one, we're still in the early innings. And what I mean by this is if you look at most markets that we're playing in, whether it's UC, whether it's contact center, whether it's opportunities with Microsoft, all of those markets are really less than 8 or 9% penetrated in North America. So we're still in the early innings. Pretty much every market that you guys are playing in are large and growing. You know, Mike spoke to it earlier. When we first did some research around Intelisys and the connectivity and cloud services market, the number that we heard back then was around 187 million in the SMB space in North America. It's really 600 billion. Did I say million? 187 billion, 600 billion. Still large and growing markets. Collectively, all of you in this room, you're the cloud voice market leaders. Synergy Research says that at some point in the future, after I think 2025, there's 100 million seats of pure play cloud voice that are going to be deployed. If you look at the Synergy Research data for global, collectively you guys were 17% of that global market in 2018. So at the end of 2018, there were 8.6 million seats deployed globally. You guys were 20% of a global number. So in North America, it tells me that you guys are probably a little more than 20% of the total market. Me being a sales guy, I don't want to be satisfied. If you think about that $100 million or 100 million seat number, I'd like to see you guys be 60 or 70% of that. That's where the payoff comes. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about in a moment is around how we can help you go do that. Cloud services stack is expanding. One of the things that was very impressive to me early on when we made the Intelisys acquisition was how each one of you has found your Trojan horse. It could be the network, it could be connectivity, it could be UCaaS, it could be Microsoft. You're starting somewhere, but you've started to expand what you're adding to what you initially went into your customer with. Microsoft Office 365 alone is a $500 billion annual opportunity, and it's less than 8% penetrated. I was having a conversation with one of our supplier partners a couple of weeks ago, and he pointed out to me that infrastructure as a service budgets in small to mid-market businesses is actually 5 to 9 times that of connectivity and UC. So when you think about what you're working on with your customers, this is a tremendous opportunity there. And lastly, there is a tremendous opportunity to sell around the seat. And what I mean by that is for every seat of UCaaS, there's potentially a seat of a software application such as Microsoft. For every seat of Microsoft 365, there's a seat of UC. This is a chart that Jay was complaining about, saying I stole from him. It was actually my chart, and he stole it from me. These are numbers that relate directly to collectively the audience. And if you look in 2012, the big blue box at the bottom, that's network. And you can see how it expands over time. So still early innings, but as you look at the growth of the products that you guys are selling, these markets are going to continue to expand. I really can't pin down a number on what the total market for UC is. We have ideas of what we think it is for contact center. But as we work through this, these are markets that are going to continue to grow, and I think over the next 5 years, each one of the boxes on top of the network are going to get just as large. So it's early innings. There's an unbelievable amount of opportunity for all of us. No presentation would be worth its salt if you didn't mention the word data. How many of you have been to a presentation where you haven't heard someone talking about data? Here's what we're working on to help you harness the power of data. So early on, my Intelisys was something that really impressed me because of the training capabilities that are inside of it, the quoting capabilities that are inside of it. Mike talked about some things that we're doing to automate the quoting process. We want to take the commodity products that you're selling and automate them so we can help you focus on higher value opportunities. So my Intelisys is a big part of our strategy. Justin Kelly and Ray Nelson, I think, are going to talk about this in a moment. But also the acquisition of RPM is important for a number of reasons, because I believe, and ScanSource Intelisys believes, that if we can give you more granular data around what you're selling to your customers, that we're going to be able to provide more insights and help you sell more proactively and help you stay a little closer to your customers. The acquisition of Inti is interesting because, one, it's a SaaS provisioning platform. And when you think about that, there's a number of other SaaS provisioning platforms out there. Anger Micro's got one, Synex has one, Tech Data, AppDirect. All these guys have a platform, but what Inti brings is something unique. It's the only platform that is in the market today that can bring insights around how your customers are consuming the applications that are sold on the platform. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of that. And most importantly, how we're going to tie those three things together, my Intelisys, RPM, and Inti, to help you maintain a continuous engagement with your customers. And by that, I basically mean this. Check out this chart. So inside of the Inti platform, there's a tool called Partner Insights. And it's live today. It's a tool that manages consumption. So for example, the example here is with Acronis, which is backup and disaster recovery. But it literally manages consumption down to the machine. So for example, with Azure, if you guys are selling Azure or have the desire to sell Azure products, it can track usage and consumption all the way down to a specific virtual machine. I think most importantly, the continuous engagement aspect of Partner Insights is tied directly to your ability to go in and have consultative conversations with your customers around how individuals inside of their organization are using the applications that they're paying for. So instead of just saying, hey, I've used a platform, any one of numerous platforms out there to sell Microsoft, Office 365 or other products, you can now advise your customers on how to help them increase their adoption rates. You can show them where they're potentially exposed from a security perspective. If you look up to under Symantec, you see in this example that 45% of their mailboxes are not protected. I mean, that's an easy sell. If you can proactively walk into your customers' place of business and talk to them about the applications that you're using and support them in a consultative manner, we believe that we're going to definitely help you guys succeed in a continuous engagement with your customers. Our plan long term for the Cascade platform is to get more of what you're selling today inside the platform, on the platform, and be able to present you with this type of data. I believe that, being an old sales guy, I would love to have this in my hand to walk and sit down with my customer, because you think about it, you hear about shadow IT all the time, you hear about all of these things related to cloud. If you can walk into your customer's office with a report that shows them what they're using, where the opportunity for improvements are, I think it's going to help you sell more. So that's an example there, and really, this is an interesting quote. This is from Jay McBain from Forrester. And this is a bit of a mouthful, but this was in a recent blog of his, and he basically said, hey, this old idea of end users want a single throat to choke, that's going away, because the line of business guys, somebody on the panel was talking about move away from the IT guy and talk to line of business. The line of business guys may have 5 different companies installing, implementing, integrating, and ensuring compliance. When I saw this, I went, holy cow, it's you guys. This is you. And I'm going to show you an example of what I mean. This is an example solution stack over a 3-year period. This is real data. It's anonymized. I don't want to expose who this is, but the numbers on the bottom, that's time, 36 months of time. So this partner started with a circuit, and if you look at how there's bumps along the road there, this is basically an enterprise level deal where started with a circuit in month 1, might have been $500 a month as they moved to other locations over time. That's the revenue flow of the circuit. They came in behind that and added cloud voice. And as it was rolled out to other locations, this is what happened. Second thing or the third thing that came in is they dropped Microsoft in. And this is a significant number of Microsoft seats. This number is all about backup and disaster recovery around Microsoft, or this column. And then most recently, they've dropped Cloud Contact Center as a service in as well. And this is one example, and this example that's probably around $240,000 to $246,000 in top-line billings a month. This is one example of an enterprise. I can pull thousands of these out of how you guys are going into your customers and layering more and more and more on top of whatever your Trojan horse was in the beginning. It could be the circuit, it could be Microsoft, it could be UC, it could be whatever. But what I'm encouraging you guys to do is look at this, especially those of you that are new to this. When I saw this, one of the things, I love ScanSource, and I love the fact that I'm here talking to you guys. But when I see this, I wonder, what the hell have I done with my life here? Because this is one of the most lucrative opportunities for all of you. And everything that we're working on from a ScanSource Intelisys perspective is to help you go do this in as many of your customers as possible. And we believe that by leveraging the Cascade platform and the artificial intelligence and the machine learning that's going to happen over time inside of that as we get more of your data inside that platform, that we're going to help you do that and help you do it in an efficient manner. I would love to be able to put tools in your hands that allow you to manage your business in a completely different way, to where you're not letting your long tail customers churn out because you're focusing on higher value opportunities. We want you to stay engaged with your customers, whether you're your largest or your smallest. So that's what we're working on for you. And on top of that, I know everyone has a 5-year plan or maybe has an expectation of where they want to be in 5 years. We do 5-year planning inside of ScanSource. But what we want to do is we want to help you be where you want to be in 5 years, potentially 1 year earlier or 2 years earlier, 3 years. If you want to think about it in if you really want to be forward-looking, I'm an idealist, and if you look up the definition of the word idealist, it means irrational exuberance. So I'm an idealist. I believe that there's some of you in this room that have an idea of where you want to be 5 years from now, but you're just one deal away from being where you want to be 5 years from now this year. Mike was talking about some of the large deals that we're seeing come in UC. We're starting to see you guys get into enterprise level deals that are heart-stopping in terms of what the size are. So everything that we're working on is focused specifically on this, on your timeline, and working towards helping you guys be more efficient. And you know what I just did? It's the first time in my life that I have finished a presentation early. Thank you very much.